What is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and today I am joined by CBB Nick, my buddy, and obviously you can follow him on Twitter at CBB Nick, and you can follow me on Twitter at RobDFB as well. And what we're kind of doing today is breaking down conference by conference in these conference tournaments that are tipping off this week. And man, what a great time to be talking college basketball! What a great time to be betting college basketball! And the topic of conversation in this video is going to be the WCC conference tournament. Obviously, it's spearheaded by two name brand teams that a lot of people are going to be familiar with, but there's still going to be matchups along the way. And this is a weird setup for a conference tournament just because they go based on the net. The two top seeded teams in this conference in St. Mary's and Gonzaga only have to play one game to advance the championship, and if they win it, they advance the championship. Interesting layout, and all these matchups are going to be played on a neutral court in Las Vegas. And last year, the bracket played out completely chalk all the way through the championship game, with every higher seed winning every single matchup outright. And outside of the number two, number three game between Santa Clara and St. Mary's, not a single one of those games was within a three possession difference. So, to kind of give you an idea of how loaded the top end of this conference usually is year after year, especially when you get down to nitty gritty and meaningful matchups is concerned, how it kind of plays out. And man, the first matchup we have here, let's take a look at the top side of the bracket between number 9 San Diego and number 8 Portland. What a fall from grace for Portland this year, who started red hot in non-con play, and everybody was like, "Wow, is this really another team out of WCC that could emerge with a Santa Clara and a San Francisco and a Loyola Marymount?" And all of a sudden, the wheels fell off of this team, despite having a really good offense. So, Nick, as far as that matchup is concerned, who are we liking to advance to the second round there?
Think we're gonna continue from last year and go with a chalk here. I think I'm gonna go with Portland. I think their offense is very strong, like you said. Even on some of those non-con games that they lost, like versus UNC, that was an 8-point game. They put up 81 versus UNC, and even Kent State, who has a good defense, they lost by 12. But I think staying kind of close to single digits with these top echelon teams is impressive. And San Diego's defense is bad. The last time these two played, Portland won by 19 at San Diego. So put them on a neutral field. Give me the offense against the worst defense.
Absolutely agree. And I think this is one of those conferences that we might pick some upset spots in here. I think I have a couple that I've eyed, but this is one of those conferences that I think is going to play out the way it shows. And I am also going to take Portland to advance the second round to play BYU. But as we kind of go down to that the second first round matchup between number 7 Pacific and number 10 Pepperdine, who do we like there? Another couple more talented teams that coming into the year. Pacific got a bunch of transfers. Pepperdine obviously has an NBA player on their roster. Who are we thinking advances out of that 7-10 matchup?
Yeah, this is actually a tough one. Excuse me. I think, yeah, Pepperdine is, they've struggled this year. I think they're 9-20, 9-21, something like that. Going to be a high scoring game, I think, as well. I think I'm going to go with Pepperdine to get the win over Pacific. They have lost 3 straight. They're going to look for a win and try and make life in this tournament. I don't think it's going to be a very long life, but if they can get to the next round, I believe in them. So we'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna lean away from it. I'm going to go chalk again here. I'm gonna go to Pacific just because I feel like the way their style of play, the veteran leadership that they do have, and the fact that they've had some play up spots this year in conference play, I do think they are going to give San Francisco a game in the second round of this thing. So I'm going to take Pacific to advance to play San Francisco in the second round. But let's go back up to the top of this bracket here for our second round matchup between number 8 seeded Portland versus number 5 BYU. Who do you like coming out of that one there?
Again, I'm gonna have to go chalk and just go with the Cougars. I think this team is. I don't think Portland's gonna be able to take down the higher seeded teams in this conference. I think they can beat up on the smaller guys that they can just shoot the ball at will and make it at will. But once they start playing the big boys and where they actually play defense and can play on the other side of the court as well and score on you, that's where they're gonna run into trouble. So I'll take the Cougars.
Yeah, and BYU is a team that they are the prototypical upset fodder, I think, just because they don't have any legit guard play and they have suspect ball handlers. They kind of run through their length down low. But I also do think that they can kind of get it done here. against a Portland team that's just super volatile. And even if you don't have the best offense and you're not trotting it out there, you can put up points on Portland. So I'm also going to go chalk. I'm going to take BYU to advance to the quarterfinals. And then as we kind of go down to the second round matchup between Pacific and San Francisco, who are you seeing come out of that one? It's kind of an interesting matchup based on styles and also recent results between the two. What are you thinking there?
Again, excuse me. I think the Dons will get this done and face off for Santa Clara in the next round. They're coming off that loss to BYU where they like weren't playing at all or lost by 20 something points. But before that, they put together a stretch of 3 games, 3 win streak against Pepperdine Pacific and Portland. So they've proven that they can beat these guys already. So I'll go with San Fran to move on to the next round.
This is actually where I'm going to take my first upset, and I'm going to take Pacific to advance to that quarterfinal matchup against Santa Clara. I don't love the play, and I'm going to be curious about where this spread ends up. If it's something above, say, 4.5, 5.5, I am definitely going to be betting on Pacific, but um, we'll see. I'm definitely I lean to the way of Pacific just winning this outright, so I'm going to take them to advance there. And now, as we kind of make our way to the quarterfinals, again, it's a weird bracket. We're going team by team, just adding two each round, essentially. And we have number 5 BYU going up against number 4 Loyola Marymount and Kyle LePepe. LaPepe University. We love this team. If you've been just kind of ingrained to this conference and just like watching mid majors, Loyola Marymount's one of the more exciting ones, and they also have a guy with a mullet and a porn stash straight out of the 80s. So, um, as far as this number 5, number 4 matchup is concerned with BYU and Loyola Marymount, where are you leaning there, Nick?
This is a tough one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I lean with the Mount. We've seen this team take down Gonzaga, and then we've seen them lay an egg versus Gonzaga and lose by 40 points. We've seen them lose to St. Mary's by 15, 14, and then they beat St. Mary's. So they're very up and down. I think I'm looking at it now. Their last game versus BYU, they lost by 28 points. So maybe a bit of a revenge factor here for these guys. I'll go with Lamount. I'll go with LePepe. And let's not forget about Cam Shelton, who is an absolute baller, averaging 21 points a game. Like, this kid is good. So I'm going to go with the Mount.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because Cam Shelton, although we love LePepe as the poster boy for this team, it's
Right.
actually Cam Shelton who is their star, and the only reason they were actually able to beat St. Mary's in their building. So yeah, I love Cam Shelton's game, and I am also going to take Loyola Marymount here. But like you kind of said, I think this is going to be a ball game decided by 1 or 2 possessions. I know we saw a lot of blowouts in this conference tournament last year, but I think the outside of the 1 and 2s, we have a lot of teams that are really in that cluster there. And I do think Loyola Marymount sneaks out of this to advance to the semifinals, but I could easily see it being BYU or even Portland if Portland makes it to the quarterfinals, being a sneaky little win right there against Loyola Marymount. But as far as we're going down to the second quarterfinal matchup. We have San Francisco for you going up against Santa Clara, and then for me, we have Pacific going up against Santa Clara. Who are you liking in that San Fran Santa Clara potential matchup?
I like Santa Clara here too. I'm sorry to everyone watching. I'm just like a chalkboard right now, but this Santa Clara team is rolling. They're on a 7 game win streak. Podziemski on Santa Clara is a bucket getter from 3. He's very good. He's averaging 20 a game, but he's also got this team has 4 guys averaging double figures. So Santa Clara's offense is very fun to watch. They're gonna rain some threes down. They're shooting 37% as a team, so we're gonna see a lot of points with this Santa Clara offense. So I'm gonna go with them.
I like it as well. I think in like I kind of said at the beginning, this is a conference that over the years has really played the chalk. So although we're taking the higher seed, this again, that's how it's played out in the past. We might have a sprinkled upset in there, but it's not unheard of just to take straight chalk all the way through. But yeah, as far as the Santa Clara Pacific matchup, I'm definitely going with Santa Clara to advance to the semifinals to play Gonzaga. But let's head back up to the top of the bracket where we have both Loyola Marymount going up against St. Mary's in a 4 versus 1 matchup. Who are you liking to come out of that and make the championship game?
I think it's just hard to not take St. Mary's here. They're 7th in defensive efficiency in the country. They're 29th in offensive efficiency in this country. The team can do it all. And while I honestly wouldn't be too shocked to see Marymount upset them if they get clicking and Shelton starts just drilling them, I'm going to take them out and play it safe and go with the 1 seed.
Yep, I am also going to do that as well. I don't think there's a single team on that side of the bracket that can give St. Mary's a ball game on a neutral court. I really don't. I think Loyola Marymount presents the best test, but I do think they kind of wear down, especially with that extra game under their belt in this bracket. So I'm also going to take St. Mary's to make the championship game. And then as we go down to that second semifinal matchup between Gonzaga and Santa Clara, who are you taking to advance the championship there?
It's not a big upset, but I'm going to take Santa Clara. I'm a known Gonzaga hater. I hate this team because I think if the media just loves on someone so much, I think I just become like a hater. So Gonzaga gets all the love because you see them coming into the tournament most years undefeated or with one loss, two losses to non-con to like Kansas or Duke or something. But this team, we've seen them be a lot more vulnerable than they have been in the past. So I'm gonna root for Santa Clara. I think they could do it. I think that again, that offense is so high powered. This is gonna be like 160. The line's gonna be like 162 and a half or something like that. It's gonna be high. So bet the points in this game, but I'm gonna take Santa Clara to upset the Bulldogs.
I like it. I like it. And I bet that line would open up at something like 7.5, 6.5. They're
It won't be
definitely,
crazy.
yeah. I think there definitely could be a ball game right there that a lot of people aren't suspecting just because of the name brand that is Gonzaga. That said, I am going to take Gonzaga, and also I think Gonzaga is getting to a point this year after a kind of a slow start to the season where although they are that name brand, I think a lot of people ended up starting to sleep on them a little bit too heavy. That nobody's thinking of them tranching or walking through the WCC, especially after they lost that home game to Loyola Marymount, and then they lost obviously to St. Mary's as well, and there was a couple tight ball games in there with San Francisco, and I do think that Gonzaga is almost kind of getting slept on right now, and I do think they're still loaded with talent. So I'm going to take Gonzaga to make the championship game, and we're both similar in terms of that top part, definitely. And then you have a St. Mary's Santa Clara championship game. Do we see a bid stealer come out of this conference, or are we going with St. Mary's there for you?
I would love to see Santa Clara win. I think that would be awesome to see a team that probably not a lot of people are going to even recognize, like come tournament time, your casual viewer. But I think St. Mary's is going to win this conference. I agree with what you said. Like Gonzaga is a great team. Again, it's just me being a hater. So it wouldn't shock me at all to see a St. Mary's Gonzaga game. But I think regardless of who St. Mary's plays, I think they're going to win this conference.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think that's and if we look at the odds to, and we'll get into here, I probably imagine in a second here, but it's almost a pick 'em between Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and that's how this bracket is designed. For some reason, WCC just wants it to be the 1 and 2 seed being definitive and maybe giving a slight edge to the 3 and 4, but almost giving zero chance those teams that start out early. Interesting kind of setup. I don't really love it out of all these conference tournaments, but hey, is what it is. As far as my matchup goes between Gonzaga and St. Mary's, I went pretty chalk all the way through. I'm going to take Gonzaga. And I just think that they are the better team. You saw them when they went to St. Mary's in their building. They controlled that game for about 39 minutes. And unfortunately, it went to overtime. St. Mary's had a nice little stretch run to open up overtime and got the win. But then you saw them when they came to the kennel, St. Mary's, Gonzaga controlled it from the outset and won that game pretty handily, despite it getting within that 7 point, 5 point margin at some points there. So I am going to take Gonzaga to win my championship game. And then as far as any futures bets for this league, do you have any futures bets that you want to place or anything that intrigues you, or how you kind of feeling that as far as a betting perspective goes?
Yeah, like you said, the way this is set up, it's literally a pick 'em between St. Mary's and Gonzaga to win the conference, which I would put it on St. Mary's -110. That's fine. But I do have a long shot, and it's going to be Santa Clara. They're plus 5,000 to win the conference, which is crazy because they're the 3 seed. They have to win
Two
what
games.
2 games to make it to the championship game, right? And so 3 total to win the whole thing. So I
Yeah.
mean, plus 5,000 to win 3 games. Like I think they're gonna beat they're going to win their first game against San Fran, I think for sure. And then obviously they have to play Gonzaga, who's a wagon. But I mean, to only have to win 3 games at plus 5,000, I think that there's definitely value there for as high powered as that offense is. So that's my long shot, but also like it's not like shot in the dark pray it hits. Like it's possible if they get going. It's definitely possible. So I like Santa Clara, sorry, plus 5,000.
Yeah, I mean, you throw a tenth of a unit on there, just sprinkle it, and you're
Yeah,
getting a 5 unit payout. I mean,
yeah,
that's
you're right.
insanity. That's insane, and that just speaks to I think that line just kind of tells you the exact story of what's going to happen in this conference. And for that reason, the only bet that I'm placing, and it's a pretty decently sized one. This is one of my bigger futures bets in a conference tournament. It's going to be 2 units on just Gonzaga to win the WCC championship. Like you kind of alluded to, I think it comes down to a pick'em of who do you think is the best team, St. Mary's or Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga has a tougher run to the tournament as far as Santa Clara being a better team than Loyola Marymount, but hey, in the off chance Loyola Marymount steals a win against St. Mary's, I don't think Gonzaga loses that matchup. And then, like I was kind of saying in our preview going through the bracket, I just think Gonzaga is the better team over St. Mary's. So I will take Gonzaga to win the WCC at 2 units there. But yeah, as far as WCC goes, we went pretty chalk. That's kind of how this tournament plays. But there's going to be a lot of more exciting, parody heavy kind of conference tournaments that we're going to cover. And that's going to do it for this video. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. And as always, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.